So today is going to be a little different because when I started this YouTube channel, and it's brand new, it's a little baby, I was like, I am going to teach all the things and have free resources for you and for you to understand dog behavior. And that's true. That will still happen. But I realized that what's the most important thing right now is to have a conversation with you, especially in such a divided world right now, in a world that's changing. Dog training, we used to think it was alpha and showing the dog who was dominant and very entertainment of look at this aggressive reactive dog and look how it bends to me kind of vibe. And I laugh because it's so ridiculous. But I don't want to throw shame in there to people that used to do that, because sometimes, you don't know until you know. And when you know, hopefully we do better. And the do better is using science and research and welfare and positive reinforcement. But unfortunately, because of the world we're living in right now, in extremes, there is extremism on that side too. And a lot of shaming, and that doesn't help anyone learn and grow. I was shown a video from my partner of the speech from, I think his name is Noah Eckstein. I really hope I said that correctly. If not, I will correct this. But he was the Harvard grad student. And he did a speech. I hope I'm saying this correctly. He did a speech about understanding one another and listen to others like you might be wrong. It doesn't mean that we don't stand up for our values, but we listen, we're curious, we ask questions. And while I try my best to do this to people that I disagree with in the dog community, and face every day with the fear that I'll get canceled if I do talk to an aversive trainer or balance trainer, because I really am curious as to, when there's data out there, why keep harming dogs with shock collars and prong collars and punishment? In the meantime, I wanted this platform to be about teaching you how to do behavior modification and dog training, but I kind of want to flip it because I think animals can teach us so much about ourselves. So in the modern world, we want to stop our dog from being reactive if they feel big feelings, and that our dogs are barking and lunging and not having appropriate responses to the circumstances. And let's say those circumstances are a dog walking across the street and we are embarrassed. So we're like, stop it. No. But the thing is that I think our dogs, especially with more anxious cases, I wonder if it's a reflection of us as humans. So I can only say this from a female perspective, but I grew up to be nice, to not make waves, to appease, to be a perfectionist, to also, for my millennials, like gifted and talented, straight A student. So I think we're all just vibrating on that now. And just from the beginning of time, humans have been so wanting to have that social cooperation, because that is how we make fire. That is how we survive. That is where we come together to celebrate and to heal and to survive. So if one of us is kicked out, at least from a female perspective, we were burned at the stake. So we always want to keep in line, even if that seems outdated for modern times. But I notice that a lot of my clients and talking to people in general, even without dogs, we want to fit in. We want to be seen as having it all together. We want to be able to walk our dog and they're so calm off leash right next to us. And I think it's just such a reflection on how we put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect, to eat right, to go to the gym, to go do yoga and breathing and be perfect for our partners and look fantastic all the time, and to have the perfect job, and to be, if you're a parent, be the perfect parent, the perfect friend. And it gets to be so much that when you tack on having a perfect dog, you're setting yourself up for failure because your dog is not going to be perfect. They are going to be reactive, and behavior is so fluid. Their personalities, just like ours, will remain the same, but they might have a bad day. Their hormones might be off. And also for my ladies, that is such a real thing that I have experienced, that no one would know, let's say from the outside, but on the inside, we're going through it. So I think also too, we have been socialized to walk the dog. And if we don't walk our dog, we're bad people. But some of our dogs have pain. Like my dog Pearl has hip dysplasia. A lot of my reactive cases, they're walking their dogs for an hour and they're just seeing trigger and trigger and trigger, and the dog is just snowballing, and the walk is actually harming the dog and the person instead of helping. So we have just been conditioned to think these things. And once again, I'm using it from a female perspective, conditioned to be a good girl, to be a good dog. And if we just get away all that bullshit, what are we trying to get at? We're trying to get at joy. We're trying to get at feeling content and ease and alignment and things that feel good, especially in today's world. And I think a lot of people reach out to aversive trainers because they want to stop the behavior because it's embarrassing, or because, you know, it says something about who they are if their dog bit someone. And granted, there are a lot of cases where we have to own up to the fact if we let our dogs run up to people and we know they don't like people, and then that person touches them and it bites them, that is on us. We did not advocate for our dog. Similar with if we had a child and the child doesn't like to be hugged a lot, and someone just kept hugging your child and your child just started crying, are you going to yell at your child to buck up? Back in the day, I think that's what happened. But nowadays, it's no, we're not going to tolerate being pushed and pushed and pushed to the edge of something where we're uncomfortable. That's called flooding. Anyway, my thoughts are, to round this all out, back to what I was originally saying. The graduating student, was talking about listening to someone as if you were wrong, being curious. And it's not throwing away our values, but it's having that discussion. And especially here in the United States, that is so difficult to find. Whether it's in politics, whether it's even in the self-help or diet or health or childcare, everyone has a very strong opinion these days. But I think being curious is the most important thing we can do for our dogs. And asking questions, we can look at our dog and go, what can they teach us? And I want this YouTube channel to be about teaching you what to do and help your dog. And so that way you can nix the stress as fast as possible, but maybe taking a step back sometimes and going, what can my dog teach me? If they are getting amped up and then we start to hold our breath and then we're getting amped up and maybe we're speaking a lot to them, we're saying no, or their name over and over again, and we are just causing more of the anxiety. Let's put us outside and your dog sees a dog across the street. If we become anxious and so does our dog, what if we actually take a step back and it's okay, my dog is uncomfortable. How can I help ease their pain? Maybe it's just quickly, quietly getting them out of the way and then going, whew, that was a lot, right? And then, okay, how can I have my dog take a deep breath? Because I need to take a deep breath. And that's when we sprinkle treats in the grass and they search in the grass to decrease their heart rate and blood pressure and sniff around for those treats. Maybe it's just going to a really quiet park and sitting on a bench together. We're constantly trying to go these days. And if it's hard for you to just sit on a bench and it's hard for your dog to settle, it's well, what can my dog teach me? My dog can't settle. Can I settle? Am I having a really difficult time relaxing? Okay, maybe we need to do this together. Maybe even, this sounds silly, but I used to do this with Pearl when she was a puppy. I would put on, it was a Peloton at the time, Peloton meditations, and I would just sit and meditate with her. And it helped. Now, granted, she was a crazy wild puppy, but that was our time together. And I learned a lot from her about anxiety and needing to meet my needs and put on my oxygen mask. And even this morning, I woke up a little anxious because I had a lot to do today. But I was like, oh, she needs to go on a walk, but she's in pain because of her hips. Let's see if we can find somewhere to swim. So taking just that half hour, we found somewhere to swim, just lighten the mood. And instead of being okay, she is pacing the apartment and she's annoying me because she's booping my leg and I'm trying to do my YouTube channel and then I'm trying to give her a lick mat and give her enrichment, but I'm okay, let me just, what is she teaching me? She's not being annoying, maybe sometimes, and that's fair. I'm not a bad dog mom because kids annoy their parents too, but I'm what does my dog need right now? And what can that teach me? Do I need the same thing? Do I need to take a time out? Do I need to just be for 20 minutes? And I think if we look at dogs, animals, people outside of our social circles, people we don't agree with, if we get curious and ask them questions as to why they're doing what they're doing, Granted, humans and animals, it's a very different process. But I think we can just come to a much more peaceful place. And instead of this frustration and this grind and this gritting our teeth to just squash behavior. Because also too, if we just squash behavior, think about it. If someone just kept yelling at you for doing something, maybe you would stop doing the thing, but maybe you would still feel anxious, or you would build resentment or anger. That's what happens when dogs go to aversive boot camps and they get e-collars and they keep getting shocked. Maybe their behavior stops and they come back home to you, but that anxiety, the feelings of fear, of nervousness, or, oh, I don't like when that person touches me, it's still there. So would you rather just squash the behavior, but then it might pop up later, similar to us, if we resent something, if we hold it down, hold it down, hold it down, that's when we get depressed. That's when we get anxious. And then that's when we explode. Do you want your dog to do that? No. And they're only here for a short amount of time. So to get curious, and granted, I understand pain points. I need help right now. I need that to stop right now because I'm embarrassed, because I can't afford for my dog to bite anyone because they were in quarantine or the courts, or I need to find a dog trainer really quick because a judge said so, which I'm working on that, by the way. It's so important to take a beat. Like, okay, this only helps in the short term, but how can I help myself in the long term? If we are just so in the right, and as my boyfriend tells me, people want to be heroes in their own stories, and studying anthropology first before I learned dog behavior, that's my specialty, is humans and culture and human nature and sociology and like why people do what they do. I just think it's so important for us to learn about animals. They can teach us so much. I think we're constantly entertaining ourselves. It's hard for us humans to just take a beat and not look at our phones, which is, I think, also too why our dogs are just either understimulated or overstimulated. And there's a moderate in between, and moderation is not sexy. Like, especially in today's world, everyone wants to have a very strong opinion. Everyone wants to catch the eye on social media, but to be moderate with our thoughts, that helps us be curious, that helps us observe things, that helps us listen instead of react. And I think a lot of times too, when our dogs are reactive and we're embarrassed, I think it's normal to a degree because we get reactive of things, traffic in the car, we get angry at our boss or coworkers or a parent or a child or our partners, and we're not perfect. So then to expect our dogs to be perfect, I think it's just such a deep reflection of our own insecurity and the unknown. At the end of the day, I don't know what this YouTube channel is going to bring, but I do know that I want to be vulnerable on here. I want to share my thoughts from an anthropological point of view, so that way you can understand what your dog is going through, and then use my animal welfare expertise and education to educate. And when I say the word educate, I don't mean to talk at. I want there to be a dialogue. Because if I just talk to academics or in my own echo chamber of positive reinforcement dog trainers, like it's gonna fall on just ears that already know. What's the point? I want to be able to reach more people. I want to be able to talk to people, like I said, with different point of views and not be afraid to get canceled. I want to be able to express myself, and I want to be able to stand up for the misunderstood, which are the pitties and the scary animals, because I've researched sharks and cheetahs and like spiders and snakes, and I want to be able to give that voice and to maybe bring another perspective to the table. I want to come on here and treat this episode as a way to discuss curiosity of how people can teach us things. We are not always in the right. And our dogs can teach us and reflect back to us who we are, or what we need to change, or what we need to moderate. And I hope to continue these talks with more specificity down the road. Have a good day, Scallywags.